Good evening, everybody. The topic of my today's talk is starting your allergy clinic, what it takes. Now, we need to understand why do we at all need to start an allergy clinic, which is still a growing specialty in our country, and whether do we need to have a separate clinic dealing with these patients, and what do we need actually in the infrastructure wise and also the training wise to actually deal with this subspecialty or rather a growing specialty in our country. So I would like everybody to refer to these three articles which was published by our group recently, one in Lancet Global Health, Pediatric Allergy Immunology, and the WAO journal, where we have stated that what is the burden of allergic diseases in our country, what are the barriers and the challenges that we are facing, and both in the adult population and in the pediatric population. Along with that, why there is an urgent need for the action to start a well-structured allergy training, subspecialty or a specialty, and treatment units in our country, in all over the country, so that we can scientifically and properly deal with this growing menace, which is which is as in the different countries increasing in our country. So as we have the different allergy immunology board specialists in USA and also proper training in the European countries and also in the other countries, we do need to have such training and treatment facilities in our country. So taking from this context, as we need to know what is the burden of the disease in our country. So basically, I would like to talk specially on in respect to the respiratory allergic diseases, because as a pulmonologist group, we usually this allergy develops a subspecialty in the respiratory medicine. So we need to know that why do we need to have this separate at clinic or this separate treatment units. If you look at the burden of allergic rhinitis, it is the most common of all atopic conditions, affecting 10 to 30% of adults and 40% of the children worldwide. Allergic rhinitis and asthma coexists in 60 to 70% of children. A recent Indian study, it reported that prevalence of allergic rhinitis was 11.3% in children aged 6 to 7 years and 24.4% in children aged 13 to 14 years. If we look at the burden of asthma, we know that 300 million people worldwide have asthma. And of that, 37.5 or 9 million is from India. That is almost equal to 55% of the total UK population. So burden of asthma in India exceeds the total number of people with HIV infection or tuberculosis. So it is quite high in terms of the number and in terms of also the cost related to the treatment. So the phase 3 ISACS reported an overall prevalence of current Vs of 7% of Indian children aged 6 to 7 years and 22 and 13 to 14 years, with some of the areas depicting quite high prevalence in the tune of the 10 to 20%. This CAROS survey, which I was talking about, so this is a very well designed survey, and it showed that the coexistence of the allergic rhinitis and asthma in Indian patients is pretty high. So in all the four zones, the study was conducted, and it showed that in South Zone, it is the highest, being in the tune of 80.3%. And in the East Zone, it's also quite high, it is 54.4%. And the center of the East Zone was the study was conducted in the Kolkata. So this calls for the need to set up an allergy clinic. This is the most important, this is the burden, this is the patients we have. And so this definitely calls for the setting up of an allergy clinic in all the in various parts of the country, in more in the cities, in the suburbs, in all areas, so that we can deal with this menace. But we need to understand one very important aspect. Allergology is a multidimensional and an interdisciplinary specialty, so that we deal with the conditions not only pertaining to the respiratory system, but pertaining to the other system as well. So we say it's a systemic disease. So what are the conditions that we commonly come across? like allergic rhinitis, asthma, atopic dermatitis, food allergy, drug allergies, stinging insect allergies, angioedema, anaphylaxis, primary immunodeficiency diseases manifesting as the allergic disease, as an allergic condition, allergic conjunctivitis, so on and so forth. So it shows that if we are setting up an allergy clinic, not only it is of it is not that a single person would run the entire thing. It has to be a team effort, and in that team, the doctors from the various specialities has to be there in the team, and the treatment to be imparted in coexistence and in conjunction and in discussion with the doctors of the other specialty as well. So let's see that what the staff and the institution we need to have. So this was a very interesting article which was published in the year 2018. It was an IACI position statement, and they have stated that what is the roadmap for allergology in Europe. Though in India, we are still running behind. So what they have reached in the Europe, but the roadmap remains the same. So the subspecialty of allergology, it is a stopover on the way to a full specialty. So in US, we have a full specialty. In the Europe, most of the places, it is a subspecialty. In India, the specialty is yet to have a status of a subspecialty even. So the allergic disorders are treated by the doctors of the various specialties like the internal medicine, the pediatrics, the pulmonary medicine, the dermatology, the ENT, and so on and so forth. But to have a concerted treatment plan, we need to develop this is allergology into a subspecialty. So maybe we are the roadmap remains the same, and we have to follow this roadmap. So a trained allergologist need to have a postgraduate qualification in any of the specialties mentioned below, like the pulmonology, pediatrics, ENT, dermatology, internal medicine, so with a proper training in allergy, but in our country. But unfortunately, till now, we do not have any MCI recognized postgraduate curricula to teach allergy in the postgraduate level in our country. But there are several very well designed and allergy training courses by some of the reputed institutions of India, like the CMC Vellore, then and there's the Gangaram Hospital in Delhi, and there are a few other centers, and also the Vallabhbhai Patel Chase BPCI, where they are running an allergy training course along with the CSIR for a pretty long time. So these courses are basically meant to impart an induction training to the postgraduate doctors from these various specialties which I talked about, so that they understand the basics of the allergology, which will help them to embark on the road or on the journey of treating the patients of of various allergic diseases. Now, to obtain a full training, they have to they have to at least work on them and work upon them so that they get the full training and expertise in this specialty, and which will help them to actually deal with these diseases. The competent subspecialist in allergology is able to acquire and apply knowledge to understand the pathology and mechanisms of the allergic disease and apply this knowledge in the real patient situations. And along with that, use the various systems and tools to acquire new knowledge by asking, learning, communicating, and searching. These are the basic tenets which one needs to understand while we are practicing allergology. And obviously, solve the daily and general problems in patient care and management and communicate with the patients and colleagues. Communication is a very important aspect while we are dealing with the specialty, because when you talk about allergy, any person, any patient will tell, oh yeah, I have an allergy, I'm allergic to this, I'm allergic to that. So allergy is a term which is very commonly used in very common in a common parlance by everybody in a very loose sense. But to understand the allergy as a scientific terminology, which actually means a particular disease state, and to understand the signs and symptoms and the organs involved, we need to communicate properly with patients and also with our fellow colleagues and the junior and the senior doctors. because then we need to get to understand, are we really dealing with the allergy or it is something else. This is a very important, and while we are starting this journey in our country, integrate the knowledge and skills. Very important integration of the knowledge of the various specialities, and use the clinical reasoning strategies, and integrate the knowledge of external causes with the history taking assessment of sensitization, which usually takes the majority of the part of the patient clerking in allergy, and the link the basic and clinical knowledge across disciplines of allergology. That is what I have said: the pediatrics, ENT, pulmonology, dermatology, internal medicine, so that we come to a working diagnosis on which to work upon, to formulate the treatment plan, and to give the advices accordingly to the patients. So the competent respiratory physician who are specialized in allergology is able to understand the development and mechanism of allergic diseases of the lower airways. This is what is needed from a respiratory medicine specialist, and understand the concept and the limitation of the United Airways Allergic March, or the currently very debated term one organ, one disease. So we should understand what is the concept behind this, the one airway or the United Airway concept, and what are the limitations in this concept. Educate the patients on the risk and management of anaphylactic reactions and shock, which is very, very important, and the lacking in our country. We have an anaphylaxis task force report from the Europe and also from the America. One of the most important hurdle or the drawback or the unmet need in our country is the non-availability of the epinephrine auto-injector, which makes the management of the anaphylactic reactions a very difficult problem in our country. Educate the patients on the basics and application inhalation techniques, including the spacers, the metered dose inhalers, the nebulizers, which as a respiratory physician, and by and large, we all undertake these activities, and which is being currently being done in a major way, which has improved the patient's acceptance of the inhalation techniques and also the patient's compliance. Understand and translate the risk and benefit of the antiallergic therapies, because since the antiallergic therapies not only comprises of the pharmacotherapy but also the allergen immunotherapy, and which is a specialized treatment modality of the allergic diseases. So the understanding of the concept of the immunotherapy, the allergen immunotherapy, and selection of the patient, selection of the allergens, selection of the doses, the starting and the continuation of the treatment. These are all very important tenets in the in imparting a treatment of the allergy immunotherapy. And obviously, with the recent era of the biologicals, all the biologicals which are coming in the for the treatment of the allergic patients, patient selection and the biologic agent selection is an important aspect too. Any comprehensive allergy centers, they should have a clinical unit, and this clinical unit should be able to perform the skin prick testing and the intradermal testing. So the technicians or the doctors, they should have competence in doing these tests. The patch testing and advanced experimental methods like atopy patch test could be undertaken along with a dermatology consultation in some centers. Nasal provocation, conjunctival provocation, and bronchial provocation. This can be undertaken in some advanced centers. Obviously, the spirometry is a very important component of any comprehensive allergy center, along with the recently developing this fractional axial nitric oxide assay. Oral food challenge, though available in very few centers, and in Kolkata only we are the centers who are doing this, is definitely an important component to evaluate the food allergies, which though low in our country, is going to increase in the time to come, depending upon the change in the dietary habits and the lifestyle habits, especially in those people who are living in the cities, especially among our children and our grandchildren. Drug challenge and the drug allergies. Allergen immunotherapy, as I was talking about, it needs a special training and expertise in selection of the patient, selection of the allergen, selection of the dose, and likewise. Monitoring and access to emergency care is very, very important because any allergy patient's treatment and evaluation can lead on to the anaphylaxis. So this has to be treated the patient. So doctors need is to be well qualified or trained in treating with these conditions. And obviously dietary counseling and intervention. Pollen calendars, they're an important tool which is to be there in while we're dealing with any respiratory allergy patients. So if a center is working without a pollen calendar, that means almost half of the work is not done. To identify the aeroallergens, specifically pollens, which can cause the symptoms and any triggers the symptoms in any particular patient, we need to always consult the pollen calendars specifically for the patient from the area from where he or she is coming. And this is one very important thing. In these pollen calendars, they keep on changing. It's a dynamic thing. It's not that we take a 10 years back pollen calendar and just we evaluate the patient's history along with that. It has to be changed. So training, basic training and knowledge of the aerobiology is an important component. And so a laboratory to perform the basic and advanced testing relevant to allergology is optional, like the hematology, total IgE, and the basic activation test is done in very few advanced centers. So basically, a comprehensive allergy center should have a reception area, patient waiting area with audiovisual facility to educate the patient, consultation room, pulmonary function area, allergy testing area, immunotherapy room with a crash trolley and a bed, very important to manage the patients if there's anaphylaxis occurs. Phlebotomy, counseling, record section, store with refrigerator, and obviously an optional is a laboratory. So these are the overview skills which is based on the consensus of this. The most important is the history taking the patients with the allergy and the atopy. Out of that, the interpretation of symptoms and the provocation test discussed later, but this is the most important. Some of the centers may have a rhinoscopy unit along in the clinic, and doing the endoscopy, rhinomanometry, nasal peak flows, acoustic rhinometry. These are all the optional areas which could be followed. Diagnostic skills, obviously, as I've talked about, this lung function test and exhale breath analysis and induced sputum um, in very few centers, and all this drug allergy and other algorithms. So we need to have a checklist to see the whether we are complying with this, whether do we have this in our centers. And skills in the management, obviously, of anaphylaxis is very important. Everybody should be taught the medical professionals should be taught how to deal with an emergency, and there should be a plan for this aspirin sensitivity deactivation and a SAMTOS trial. SAMTOS trial is nasal polyps with asthma with aspirin sensitivity. So this all needs to have a well formulated protocol or design or standard operating procedure SOP, which is should be there in all the centers. And counseling of the patient and education is the important part in the primary and the secondary prevention of the allergic diseases. Now, we should always definitely add what the consideration for safe clinical practice during the pandemic and the post-COVID era, the allergy clinic, where we are dealing with this asthma, rhinoconjunctivitis, and anaphylaxis, and the chronic spontaneous urticaria. They should all continue with the treatment, but there should be provide educational material, constant dispensing of the various medications to the patients and home delivery of the slate subliminal immunotherapy and also consideration temporary suspension in case of COVID-19 in the patients. So always we should maintain that safety of the staff is of paramount importance, adequate PPE, the COVID protective behaviors like use of the mask, hand hygiene, and full PPE in some cases, very important. And we should communicate clearly with staff about safety and be prepared in case the staff becomes exposed or becomes infected. And in the physical structure, waiting room areas, chairs should be 6 feet apart with constant taping of the floor, limited appointment templates, and constant limiting the number of visits per visits. So clean the office daily before and after, and I regularly monitor the staff and also the other persons who are involved over here. These are the low risk in COVID. The biologic therapy, immunotherapy, skin disease are low risk, but high risk is spirometry, nebulization, exhale, and peak flow MDI. So this should be avoided during this COVID time. So we can see that these are all the parameters which is needed to actually formulate a comprehensive uh, allergy clinic, to start an allergy clinic by anyone. And also on the top of that, we have this newer or added rules and guidelines in the post-COVID era. Actually, if we follow up these rules and these methods, definitely we'd be able to staff an allergy clinic and deal with these patients in a more better and comprehensive manner. Thank you.